A lot of people like the idea of hosting a podcast. It sounds interesting and it sounds influential. It feels like something leaders should do. But here's the honest question most people never ask. Should you actually be the host? Because hosting a B2B podcast is not just about sitting behind a microphone. It's about positioning, consistency, curiosity, and responsibility. And not everyone is the right fit, at least not right now. So in this video, I want to help you figure out whether you should host a podcast, whether someone else in your business should, or whether it's not the right move at all. The first thing to ask yourself is this: do you genuinely enjoy having long-form conversations with business owners? Hosting isn't about performing, it's about listening. It's about asking thoughtful questions, and it's about being able to be curious about other people's journeys. If you find those conversations energizing rather than draining, that's a strong signal. If you see them as a necessary marketing chore, then that's probably a warning sign. The second question is about consistency. Can you realistically commit to 2 episodes a month for at least 12 months? Not 3 episodes and then disappearing, not, oh, we'll see how it goes. Consistency is what builds credibility. If your schedule is already stretched and you're constantly firefighting inside your business, adding a podcast may create stress rather than leverage. The right host sees it as infrastructure, not as a side project. The third question is about positioning. Are you comfortable being publicly associated with the type of people you want to attract? When you host a podcast, you're not just interviewing guests, you're aligning yourself with them. That can be powerful, but it also means clarity around your own positioning. If you're unsure who your ideal audience or ecosystem is, hosting a podcast can feel unfocused. Another important factor is humility. The best hosts don't try to dominate the conversation. They don't constantly redirect attention to themselves. They create space. They elevate the guest. Ironically, when you focus less on yourself, your positioning improves more quickly. If you feel the need to prove your expertise constantly, hosting may feel uncomfortable. But if you're secure enough to spotlight others, it works beautifully. You also need to consider whether you're the best person inside your business to represent the brand publicly. Sometimes the founder is perfect. Sometimes a co-founder or director or partner is a better fit. Sometimes having 2 hosts creates better dynamic energy. The host doesn't have to be the CEO. They need to be credible, articulate, and genuinely interested in the topic. Now, let's talk about energy. Hosting requires presence. Even if production is handled by a team, you still need to show up mentally sharp and ready to go. You need to prepare, engage, and follow up. If you treat the recording as something to get through, it shows. But if you approach it with curiosity and intention, guests feel that, and the feeling often determines the depth of the relationship. Another question worth asking is this: do you want to build proximity to the people you're inviting? Because if you don't genuinely want those relationships, the podcast becomes hollow. A B2B podcast works when the guest list aligns with your commercial direction. If you're unclear on who you want in your world, hosting will feel random rather than strategic. There's also the long-term view. Are you comfortable building something that compounds slowly? The first few episodes might feel a bit quiet. The audience might be small and the traction might be subtle. Hosting requires belief in the long game. Over 24 months, the credibility builds. The guest quality improves, the positioning strengthens, but only if you're patient. Now, here's something important. You don't need to be a natural presenter. You don't need a big personality. You don't need broadcasting experience. In fact, some of the strongest hosts are calm, thoughtful, and measured. What matters more than charisma is credibility and curiosity. Can you ask good questions? Can you listen well? Can you connect ideas? That's enough. If after asking yourself these questions, you feel excited rather than hesitant, that's a strong indicator. If the idea of sitting down twice a month with respected business leaders feels energizing, if you can commit to consistency, and if the positioning aligns with where you want your business to go, you're probably a good fit. But if you feel unsure, that doesn't mean podcasting is off the table. It might mean someone else should host. It might mean you co-host it with a partner. It might mean you wait 6 months until the business has more capacity. The key is alignment. A B2B podcast is powerful because of the relationships it builds and the positioning it creates. But it only works when the host is genuinely aligned with the purpose behind it. It's not about ego. It's not about visibility for visibility's sake. It's about creating a platform that strengthens your ecosystem. If you're considering hosting a podcast and you'd like an honest conversation about whether you're the right fit, I'd be happy to chat. There's a link below where you can book some time with me and find out a little bit more about what we do. We can talk you through your goals, your positioning, and whether hosting or partnering with someone else makes the most strategic sense. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.